I'd like to talk to you today about a much maligned love. Love that is hidden in the shadows, a love that dare not speak its name. I'm speaking, of course, of a love for the legislative process. Now, I know not every Fed head shares my predilection for cloture motions and in-depth debates about Masons versus Robert's Rules of Orders, but many of us are part of the grand society of legislative nerds, right? And for many of us, or far too many of us, somewhere along the line, we have gotten it into our head that we have to tone down our nerdy obsession, and we have to simplify things in order to appeal to the general public. So my big idea today is simply this. Let your inner legislative nerd shine in all its glory. We are living in the golden age of nerds. In entertainment, in fashion, right? I mean, they're all dressed like Doctor Who. But in politics, we think we have to tone down the dorkdom to negate the nerdy. So I wanted to tell you what happened at Equality Texas when we decided to let all of our nerdiness out of the closet. In Texas, our regular legislative sessions last for 5 months. At the beginning of this session, we decided we would put out short weekly videos about what had happened that week. Each video was budgeted for 3 hours of staff time to write, shoot, and edit. It was shot on a very cheap camcorder, and absolutely no attention whatsoever was paid to production values. For each video, we started with 2 questions. What happened that week, and how did it feel? For the issues, and I know a lot of y'all do this, for each issue, we developed a 1-page explanation in 3 sections. A 2 to 3 sentence elevator speech, 3 or 4 facts about the issue, and then 2 or 3 rhetorical arguments for framing the issue. For many of the videos, that 2 to 3 sentence elevator speech was read verbatim each week. And since several issues came up over and over again, a lot of times the same words got read every week. And something really interesting happened because we started to hear the exact same words out of the mouths of lawmakers and media. Now, the second question was, how did it feel? So on a week where I was feeling really overwhelmed, I started the video by removing books and detritus from in front of the camera. On Valentine's Day, I wore a tux. On a week that felt like going 10 rounds with Mike Tyson, and what we learned was the sillier the gag was, the better people responded, which actually speaks to another element of nerd culture. Nerds are not afraid to look silly. Costumes, props, these are great things for nerds. And people are accustomed to learning from nerds, right? These are not new things. At the heart of each video was the process, and the process in depth, without being afraid that it was too much information. And we saw 2 major responses. From people who were familiar with the process and followed the ledge, they tend to say, hey, I understand what these people are saying. They must really understand what they're talking about. For the people who didn't follow the ledge and didn't know the process, hey, I don't understand what these people are talking about. They must really know what they're talking about. And suddenly, Equality Texas, this little organization with the Sisyphean task of advancing LGBT equality in Texas, we became the experts. We started getting calls from outside groups, the NAACP, the State Bar Association, calling us to explain the legislative process to them. We had lawmakers calling us to ask for meetings to explain fine points of the law to them. I still get weekly calls from our state Get Equal lead asking me, now wait, so if this motion happens that way and that motion happens that way, what does that mean? And all of those calls and all of those conversations have increased our prestige and our clout in the halls of power. People trust nerds, and they're more willing to donate to and support an organization that they think has specialized knowledge that they themselves don't possess. So my advice today is simply this. Be nerdy. Be a dork. I'm Daniel Williams from Equality, Texas. I love the legislative process, and I'm not afraid if anybody knows that. Thank you.